On our adventure. We are so thrilled that you've decided to join us for this 1-hour road trip across northern Thailand. And as you can see, we've just landed in Chiang Rai, where the Freedom Story has been working for the last 14 years. This year, we are so excited to bring you on an adventure to the mountains of northern Thailand to dive a little bit deeper into the work of the Freedom Story. So as you grab your bags, we want to make sure that you brought the items that you'll need for this adventure. Included in your adventure kit was a packing list. If you haven't already taken a look, please do so now. I said it on our learning trip last year, and I'll say it again this year. Last minute packing is my specialty. There is absolutely no shame in that. So first on your packing list is your adventure box. This is important because we'll be opening or using these items throughout the trip together. And don't forget your travel guide, which includes a timeline for our journey, information about our travel sponsors, thank you, and most importantly, information about our roadside gift stand. You heard me right. We have a chance to shop for some holiday presents. You've got a little coin purse in your bag for that. We're even going to be visiting 2 of our students' homes today. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me introduce myself. I'm Rachel, co-founder and board chair for the Freedom Story. This evening, Virwit, Lucy, Bone, and Jane will be your tour guides. Alana will be hanging out with you in the chat, so if you have any questions during our road trip, just pop them in the chat, as we'll be taking some time for Q&A with our tour guides towards the end of our time together. Why don't you now take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat? Maybe share where you're from or how you got involved in the Freedom Story. We would love for you to connect with other adventurers alongside of you. All right, are you ready to go on our off-road adventure? Let's go. Our first stop is just south of Chiang Rai at the Freedom Story's headquarters office. So grab your backpack. I've got mine. And while you settle in with your snacks, let's begin with why this trip throughout northern Thailand is so important. Let's turn to Lucy.
Thanks, Rachel, and hi, everyone. Welcome to our Resource Center. We are thrilled to have you here to show you a little bit more of what prevention really looks like. I hope you enjoyed the view of the rice fields and the mountains on the way here. Come with me, and I'm going to brief you while our team gets the cars ready for our first home visit. Come, take a seat. As you know, our work is about preventing child trafficking. That means we're working with children who are most at risk or most vulnerable to traffickers. Traffickers prey on people who have a need, usually either an emotional need or a financial need. They build trusting relationships with someone over time and then offer a solution to that need. And that often seems risk-free because they trust the trafficker and the option that they've been given. Often they go to great lengths to make sure that people's natural barriers have been decreased, and what they're offering seems pretty risk-free. Where we work, vulnerability comes from poverty, which makes it a struggle to meet even daily needs. It comes from a lack of education. Fully half of students in this region drop out of school before 9th grade, and 25% of the families and parents of our students never went to school at all. Without a degree, job prospects are very dim. Not to mention the lack of knowledge and access about the greater world that can help people make informed decisions. Vulnerability also comes from structural factors like statelessness, which means not having citizenship. Many of our students are not officially recognized as citizens in any country, and that means that they don't have access to the same rights, protections, and benefits that citizens can expect. This includes things like healthcare, land ownership, bank accounts, and driver's licenses. Without all of these things, their lives and their choices are even further limited. Many of our students also come from families with a history of abuse or a history of being trafficked into the sex industry. And broken families are very common and are unfortunately a common source of trauma or dysfunction or pain. And all of these factors can leave children more vulnerable to those who would wish to exploit them. Let's take a look at a video of one of our students, Arissa. Her story is a prime example of a would-be pathway into trafficking for many of our students. Let's watch together.
Arissa lives in Thailand and is a member of the Hmong people. Even from the tender age of 15, Arisa has taken pride in what she was able to make with her own 2 hands. She could also sell her embroidery to help her family, who live in poverty. She has 3 younger siblings to help raise. Her mother works in agriculture, the only industry available to their remote community, and believes that Arisa should leave school to work in the fields. These traditional beliefs are deeply ingrained, and older generations do not value female education. Dropping out of school would consign her to a life of poverty and limited options. And she was lonely and desperately wanted someone to care for her. Her phone connected her to the outside world and to everything that involves. Arisa sought affection and maybe a chance at a better life. Arisa believed that beauty was the pathway to connection and affection to ease painful feelings. She shared explicit photos of herself in the hopes of meeting someone who could fulfill her needs. She didn't realize people could take advantage of her. She didn't realize she was putting herself in danger. Arisa's wish for outside help was answered in a way she did not expect. The Freedom Story arrived in her community and, realizing her potential, as well as the risks she was taking, offered her a scholarship so that she could stay in school and develop her education. She no longer has to turn to social media for relationships. She has real people in her life who care for her, listen to her, and support her in doing what she loves. The Freedom Story Resource Center has enabled Arisa to acquire new skills and make new friends. Our organization also spreads awareness of the importance of education for girls through home visits and being active in the community. Arisa now dreams of becoming a nurse so she can help her family and others in her community. She feels happier and more fulfilled. This year, Freedom Story will help more vulnerable children like Arisa become self-reliant, reassert their rights, and rejuvenate their spirits. We hope that you can contribute to this journey.
As you can see in the video, while in the past we saw that children were mostly trafficked into red light districts, now not only is it karaoke bars and massage parlors, but there's also the risk of online exploitation. Increasingly, as children gain greater access to phones and to the internet, they are more at risk of this new form of trafficking. The kids themselves think that they're being safe because they aren't even leaving their homes. So while financial need used to be one of the greatest risk factors, now we see that emotional needs like loneliness and isolation are also putting children at risk. We need to help children cope not only with their physical needs, but also with their emotional needs. That's why prevention has to be more comprehensive than just financial income or things like awareness raising. Our prevention programs are holistic, with scholarships to keep children in school, resources to support them and their families, and innovative programs to help increase their resilience and promote access to alternative sources of income. We tackle the problem from every possible area, and one very special aspect of what we do and what we want to show you today is home visits and mentorship. Home visits are probably my favorite thing that we do. Home visits are an important way that we build deep relationships with students and their families. These relationships are what allow us to know more deeply the challenges that they're facing, what hidden barriers might be putting a child at risk of dropping out of school or making dangerous choices. And they're what make it possible for us to provide guidance and support when they get into trouble of some kind. These relationships are built during these visits when staff meet with, talk to, eat with, and generally spend time with our students and their families. We would love for you to join us on some home visits. Are you ready? Because it looks like the team is ready, so let's get in. You may be imagining a relaxing drive along the highway, but you need to buckle up because we're going off-roading up and down steep, unpaved mountain roads. That's why we need these four-wheel drive cars. I hope you're ready for some adventure, and you'll want to stay hydrated with your new custom water bottle. And of course, you've got your fan in case you get hot. Okay, our first stop is going to be our roadside stand, because what's a trip to Thailand without some shopping? Now is a great opportunity to purchase some holiday gifts for your friends and family back home. Some of these experiences seem like a perfect opportunity to share with them about your trip with us. These roadside markets are pretty typical here, so head on over to our roadside gift stand. We've put the link in the chat for you, and be sure to make your bids in our silent auction. Bids close at 7:30 p.m., so you'll want to get them in now.
Lucy, what you checking out at the roadside gift stand?
I have a wide variety of really lovely things here at my gift stand. So we have this lovely 3-piece set from Join. These are actually ethically made.
What?
Yeah, look, you get a matching pencil case, kind of like a clutch bag, and a tote in this lovely blue color.
I'm gonna one up you on this because I've got an In-N-Out hat. I don't know if you guys saw, but there is an In-N-Out swag bag in your kit, and you're definitely going to want to check that out.
That In-N-Out hat looks like a perfect place to wear tickets to the Oakland A's game. I have 4 tickets here available for the 2023 regular season. So if you love baseball, then you should get these tickets.
Love it. I love that so much. So what else do we have here? If you put it in your chat, we'd love to know what your favorite items are so far. And it looks like Alana has also sent the link out. So make sure you click on that and put your bids in because it doesn't end too long after our road trip and our adventure throughout northern Thailand ends. One of my favorite items, I know that I'm partial, is the Dioliva olive oil basket. My mom is in attendance today and she makes award-winning olive oil. And we've got some farm honey. You're definitely going to check that out.
Absolutely. You could carry your farm honey and your olive oil around in this beautiful backpack. It's made by Made Free. It's actually like a really nice backpack, and it's a good size, I think, if you wanted to carry around your books or, even your olive oil.
I love it. Well, I think we are about to miss the bus, Luce.
Oh, no.
So, I know. We got to get going.
I don't want to miss the home visit, but make sure you all check out our silent auction at our roadside stand. All right, as you wrap up your purchases, we'll get ready to head out on our first home visit. Don't forget, bids close at 7:30 p.m. So if you didn't quite finish your bids, be sure to do so before then. Are you ready? Are you excited to meet our first student? Great, because we can't wait either. I know the drive is long, but we're almost there. All right, let's head on over to meet with Nong Aitim and her mom, Gam. Our program manager and Non, who we'll affectionately call Kruban, will introduce us.
ขอบคุณครับคุณลูซี่สวัสดีครับทุกคนยินดีต้อนรับสู่จังหวัดน่านครับพวกเราดีใจที่คุณได้มาเยี่ยมเราที่นี่น่านเป็นจังหวัดที่สวยงามอยู่ในภาคเหนือของประเทศไทยที่วางแผนเปิดรับนักท่องเที่ยวมากขึ้นเราเปิดสำนักงานที่นี่ในปี 2020 หลายๆชุมชนในพื้นที่มีความสุ่มเสี่ยงต่อการค้ามนุษย์แต่ที่นี่นั้นมีความเสี่ยงมากเป็นพิเศษเพราะอยู่ห่างไกลเพียงแค่การเดินทางขึ้นมาก็เหมือนการผจญภัยแล้วซึ่งก็ส่งผลให้ที่นี่ค่อนข้างถูกตัดขาดจากการงานและโอกาสทางการศึกษาโรงเรียนต่างๆนั้นอยู่ไกลมากทำให้ค่าใช้จ่ายเกี่ยวกับการศึกษาสูงขึ้นเพราะต้องมีค่าที่พักและค่าเดินทางที่นี่มีการค้ายาเสพติดเป็นจำนวนมากเช่นกันครับหลายๆคนหันไปพึ่งยาเสพติดอย่างยาบ้าเพื่อบรรเทาความเครียดซึ่งมาจากความจนในตอนที่เราลงพื้นที่สำรวจดูถึงความเป็นไปได้ในการทำงานป้องกันมีครูคนหนึ่งบอกกับเราอย่างตรงไปตรงมาว่าเด็กและเยาวชนที่นี่มีแค่2ทางเลือกเท่านั้นคือการขายบริการทางเพศหรือการค้ายาเสพติดโดย2ใน3ของนักเรียนที่ดำรงชีวิตด้วยเงินเพียง$2หรือ75 บาทต่อวันนักเรียนจำนวน 70% ที่มีพ่อแม่หรือพี่น้องที่เคยตกเป็นเหยื่อของการค้ามนุษย์รวมถึงยังมีการล่วงละเมิดเด็กเป็นจำนวนมากค่าครองชีพที่สูงขึ้นทำให้หลายครอบครัวต้องนำบุตรหลานออกจากโรงเรียนเมื่อจบม.3 เด็กหลายคนตั้งท้องหรือมีความข้องเกี่ยวกับยาเสพติด เด็กจากกลุ่มชาติพันธุ์ม้งบางคนแต่งงานตั้งแต่ยังเรียนไม่จบม.3 อย่างไรก็ตามในชุมชนก็ไม่มีงานรองรับเด็กเหล่านี้จึงลงเอยด้วยการออกไปทำงานหรือถูกค้ามนุษย์ในพื้นที่อื่นๆของประเทศทิ้งลูกๆไว้ให้ตายายเลี้ยงที่บ้านโครงสร้างแบบแหว่งกลางนี้อาจทำให้เด็กๆรู้สึกเหงาและโดดเดี่ยวได้ปัญหานี้ยากมากและหลายๆครอบครัวก็ยังต้องดิ้นรนดังนั้นตอนนี้เราอยากจะแนะนำหนึ่งในครอบครัวของนักเรียนเราให้กับคุณพวกเขาได้เชิญชวนให้เราไปเยี่ยมบ้านและเราอยากจะแนะนำครอบครัวของเด็กทุนในโครงการให้คุณรู้จักและนี่คือน้องแยมเจ้าหน้าที่สาขาน่านที่จะนำคุณลงพื้นที่เยี่ยมบ้านในครั้งนี้ครับ
สวัสดีค่ะหนูชื่อแยมเป็นเจ้าหน้าที่มูลนิธิสาขาน่านนะคะวันนี้จะพาทุกคนมาลงพื้นที่เยี่ยมบ้านของน้องไอติมซึ่งครอบครัวของน้องไอติมมีทั้งหมด4คนมีคุณพ่อคุณแม่น้องชายและน้องไอติมซึ่งจากการลงพื้นที่เยี่ยมบ้านของเจ้าหน้าที่ทำให้เราพูดคุยกับผู้ปกครองทำให้เรารู้ว่าน้องไอติมมีพฤติกรรมที่ติดโทรศัพท์และแบ่งเวลาการใช้ชีวิตกับครอบครัวน้อยลงไม่มีการสื่อสารกันภายในครอบครัวและไม่แบ่งเวลาในการช่วยเหลือครอบครัวทำงานบ้านซักผ้าหรือว่าช่วยแบ่งเบาภาระครอบครัวนะคะจากนั้นน้องไอติมได้เข้าสู่เด็กทุนในโครงการของเราทำให้น้องไอติมได้ร่วมกิจกรรมต่างๆและกิจกรรมหนึ่งที่น้องไอติมได้เข้าร่วมคือการอบรมภัยจากสื่อออนไลน์ทำให้น้องไอติมมีพฤติกรรมที่ดีขึ้นและปรับเปลี่ยนพฤติกรรมที่ดีขึ้นช่วยคุณพ่อคุณแม่ทำงานบ้านซักผ้าล้างจานและออกไปเล่นกับเพื่อนๆแบ่งเวลาให้เป็นประโยชน์ค่ะป่ะเราไปด้วยกันเลย
สวัสดีเจ้าแม่จื่อนางออนอุมาชาวเวียงจื่อเล่นจื่อแม่กิมนะเจ้าเป็นแม่ของเด็กหญิงเกษรินดวงแจ่มหรือน้องไอติมเจ้าเป็นหนึ่งในผู้ปกครองของเด็กทุนในโครงการเจ้าแม่ก็วันนี้แม่ก็ได้มาอู้เนาะอันคือว่าเรื่องความยากจนของแม่เนี่ยความทุกข์ความยากของแม่นี่ก็คือปัญหาก็คือเกิดมาจากความยากจนคือแม่บ่มีเงินแม่บ่มีความรู้เพราะว่าด้วยแม่ก็เรียนจบแค่ป.6 แม่บ่มีการศึกษาตีต้องไปได้ทำงานดีๆเหมือนคนอื่นก็เลยได้มาทำอันใจแรงงานเจ้ามาเนี่ยมาทำไร่ทำสวนทำการเกษตรแล้วก็บ่ใครมีเงินบ่ใครได้หลายเจ้าอันรายรับบ่พอกับรายจ่ายแม่ก็ลำบากค่ะอันเจ้าลำบากแล้วก็พอดีว่าคือก็อยากให้น้องได้เรียนหนังสืออยากให้น้องมีอนาคตดีๆเจ้าเพราะว่าถึงวันนี้ลำพังกับตัวแม่ก็กับพ่อก็ลำบากแล้วก็อดทนเจ้าบางปีก็มันก็ติดลบเปิ่นเนาะเพราะว่าทุนขาดทุนแป้งราคาของที่เฮาขายไปเนี่ยมันบ่สามารถที่จะได้แป้งก็เลยว่าติดลบเป็นหนี้เป็นสินนายทุนเปิ่นเจ้าเงินท้องก็บ่ใครพอใจเนาะแล้วแม่ก็มีปัญหาด้านสุขภาพก็คือว่าแม่ชอบเอาของหนักหลังจากที่น้องได้รับทุนการศึกษาเนาะหรือว่าเป็นผู้ปกครองที่เข้าร่วมโครงการมูลนิธิ The Freedom Story เจ้าก็ทำให้ชีวิตและครอบครัวของแม่เริ่มดีขึ้นมากเจ้าเพราะว่าทางมูลนิธิเปิ่นก็ดีเนาะค่ะเนาะเปิ่นก็เข้ามาช่วยเหลือหลายสิ่งหลายอย่างมีปัญหาอีหยังก็แม่ก็มาเล่ามาหยังให้ฟังนะเจ้าเนาะแล้วก็เปิ่นก็เข้ามาช่วยเหลือหลายอย่างเช่นลำพังกับตัวแม่เองเนาะก็เป็นคนยากจนซึ่งว่าบ่มีเงินที่ว่าจะส่งลูกเรียนสูงๆได้ก็มีมูลนิธิยื่นมือเข้ามาช่วยเหลือก็ทำให้น้องไอติมได้เรียนหนังสือต่อตีว่าจะจบสูงเจ้าข้อตีว่าสำคัญที่สุดก็คือเรื่องนี้เจ้าแล้วก็ปีเลี้ยงอันครูปีเลี้ยงก็ลงเยี่ยมบ้านช่วยให้คำแนะนำปรึกษาเจ้าช่วยชี้แนะปัญหาต่างๆช่วยไปบอกไปสอนว่าเป็นจะแด้แม่จันจี้เรื่องการเรียนของลูกเป็นจะแด้พ่องไปถามไปไทยเจ้าก็รู้สึกว่าแม่มีกำลังใจขึ้นมามากเพราะว่าได้รับการช่วยเหลือจากมูลนิธิ The Freedom Story ในครั้งนี้เจ้าแล้วก็ ทำให้แม่ครอบครัวแม่มีความอบอุ่นขึ้นความสุขขึ้นนะจ๊ะนะเจ้าจากตีแต่ก่อนก็ป่อน้องไอติมก็เป็นคนตีติดเหล้าติดสุราเนาะเจ้าเนาะแล้วก็พอดีว่าก่อนตีบ่ได้เข้ามารวมโครงการก็เพราะว่าปัญหาทั้งครอบครัวเนี่ยเจ้าบางครั้งก็เกิดความเครียดบ่มีทางออกแล้วก็แต่ตอนนี้หลังจากตีมูลนิธิเดอะฟรีดอมสตอรี่เข้ามาช่วยเหลือก็ทำให้ป่อน้องไอติมพรเราได้มากเจ้าแล้วก็เป็นคนใหม่ได้สามารถเข้ามารวมกิจกรรมในมูลนิธิก็อันไปคำแนะนำเกี่ยวกับการปลูกผักก่อนมีเจ้าหน้าที่เปิ่นก็ปลูกผักไว้กินในครัวเรือนนะเจ้าไปช่วยสอนช่วยหยังตีว่าอันเอาผักปลูกไว้กินทำพืชผักสวนครัวในครัวเรือนแล้วก็หลังจากกินก็เอาไว้ขายเจ้าก็เป็นรายได้มาเสริมครอบครัวได้อย่างดีเจ้า
Thank you so much, Gam. It was wonderful to hear from you. Now, let's hear from Aitim about how the program has impacted her.
ความสัมพันธ์หนูกับพี่เลี้ยงนะคะ พี่เลี้ยงเป็นเหมือนเพื่อนของหนูเลยค่ะปรึกษาได้ทุกเรื่องไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องการเรียนของหนูเรื่องเพื่อนเรื่องปัญหาครอบครัวค่ะและพี่เลี้ยงก็สอนเรื่องการวางแผนเป้าหมายในชีวิตการวางแผนอนาคตของหนูด้วยค่ะก่อนที่จะเป็นเด็กทุนนะคะหนูก็เป็นคนที่ไม่ค่อยมีเพื่อนค่ะติดโทรศัพท์เล่นแต่โทรศัพท์อยู่แต่ในบ้านไม่ค่อยออกไปเที่ยวที่ไหนค่ะเป็นคนที่เก็บตัวอยู่แต่ในบ้านค่ะแต่หลังจากที่หนูเป็นเด็กทุนนะคะชีวิตหนูก็ดีขึ้นมามากๆเลยค่ะหนูมีเพื่อนหนูมีคนรู้จักมากขึ้นหนูรู้สึกว่าชีวิตหนูสนุกมากเลยค่ะ
Thank you so much, Aitim, Gam, Yam, and Kurban for that wonderful home visit. We really appreciated our time together. Now let's head back to the Resource Center in Chiang Rai. It's true that Nan is an area that is already very vulnerable, but there are other developments that we'd like to tell you about too. Trafficking is a problem that is always changing. From brothels and red light districts to online child sexual exploitation, traffickers are taking advantage of changing technology. It's always shifting. Let's hear now from Virawit, our Executive Director, about the newest challenges we're seeing.
Thanks, Lucy. Hello, everyone. Tonight, I would like to talk to you about some of the way trafficking is changing. It's probably not a surprise that the pandemic has made life harder for people. I'm sure we all experienced how challenging it was. And if that weren't difficult enough to get through, now we are seeing rising living costs, especially food and energy. Things are getting harder. While the world shut down for the pandemic, though, traffickers did not stop. Where we see struggle, they see opportunities. In Cambodia, we have also seen a lot of cases where people from across Southeast Asia see job offers like these online for call centers or office clerks. And when they show up for the job, they get trafficked by organized crime syndicates into running illegal scams like for online gambling. They are forced to work, they can't escape, and they are severely beaten or even tortured if they don't comply. Our own students have already come in contact with fraudulent job offers that turn out to be exploitative labor situations. It might sound easy to avoid such risks, but you have to think about it from the perspective of someone who looks around them and see no opportunities. Even knowing there's a risk, sometimes the offer of significant money is too difficult to pass up. Even knowing there might be exploitation, sometimes seem not worse than what they already face. This is why we believe prevention has to be about more than only knowledge about risks. We have to make it possible for people to make safer choices. Let's adventure back to Chiang Rai, where Jane is waiting to introduce another family who have so kindly agreed to share their experience.
ยินดีต้อนรับสู่จังหวัดเชียงรายฉันชื่อเจนเป็นผู้จัดการฝ่ายการศึกษาศูนย์เชียงรายเรามาที่นี่วันนี้เพื่อพบกับครอบครัวน้องแพรและแม่อายุมน้องแพรนางสาวคณิษฐาจูเปาะปัจจุบันอยู่กับเราได้9 ปีเหตุผลที่น้องแพรได้รับทุนการศึกษาอย่างต่อเนื่องจากครอบครัวมีความยากลำบากพ่อแม่ได้แยกทางกันจึงทำให้แม่กลายเป็นแม่เลี้ยงเดี่ยวและไม่สามารถสนับสนุนการศึกษาของน้องได้อย่างต่อเนื่องเพราะว่าแม่มีโรคประจำตัวทำให้เราเห็นว่าน้องมีความลำบากจึงพิจารณาให้ทุนการศึกษาจนถึงปัจจุบัน
อุธรรมะงานน่ะชมยนาอายุมนามสกุลได้ยังแหลมาคณิษฐาจูเปาอามาเดนะพยานิจูเปาอามาเดก็ทุนมูลนิธิในชาวบ้านละเย่หูเบียงละแม่หึงเงทุนมายาลานูฮโลมายาจัวอาจิมีเนี่ยนะเจ้าหน้าที่เดอพี่เลี้ยงเดอสิญญาเลเนี่ยสิญญาละเนี่ยหามกุเนี่ยละเนี่ยชาวบ้านเนี่ยละแม่หึงเงอายามนะงานนักก็น่ามีเนี่ยอยู่หามดูอยู่หานักก็พอมีเนี่ยเนี่ยเดียสาวอาพิธีกับพัชนุอากูหงเงินน่าสิเช่กูเจย์แม่งามาอันนี้น่าสิเจอแม่ทุนมูลนิธิเขาเดินมาชาวบ้านเราหนุ่มอินังคนนี้เขาล้มายาจ้าอาจิมีน่ะสิทธิเท่าเทียมหงหามายาอาจิมีเนี่ยน่ะหาได้โอกาสแล้วชาวสาวถามแม่หงเงินไอ้ยามนั่งก็ดื้อน่าเชื่อที่ปัวน่ะก็นอนติดเตียงแล้วก็ยาแม่ตัวก็ชาวบ้านเจ้าหน้าที่ดูชาวบ้านเขาซาเลมิเนี่ยยาวก็ดูนี่ยานุ่งโลก็ดูหอมายาล้างยาวอาจิมีน่ะชาวบ้านเนี่ยจะแม่แล้วนี่ทุ่มยาวแม่กำลังมาใครกิจกรรมครอบครัวและแม่อาดูมายาสีหาวเจมายาสิญญาเจอายุมาเมเนล่ะแม่ยาเบอามาอาดานึมาอายุพันเลยหามเกออายุมาแล้ววัยรุ่นเลยแม่อายุมาอายุอย่าโอโซเลยเจริญยังมาสิญญาอายุว่ามาดันเงินชามาเลยเงือแม่เลยเต้นหัวแม่อายุมาดอเบมาหน้าหาถ้าก็เด็กกิจกรรมทั้งหุ่นจังแล้วแต่น่ายกมือยาวยกมือง่ายน่ะอันนี้ก็น้องแพเนี่ยก็เงี้ยชาวเนี่ยเจอแล้วเงี้ยที่อีกครั้งเราเฮ้ยโดนจะชาวเทค้าเงี้ยยนนยูเลยเงี้ยที่ก็ที่น่าหายกมือเจเตอกุมเมียมือเมียกิจกรรมช่วงหุ่นไปมายาสิญญาแล้วเนี่ยมายาเข้าใครนู่นเขาตีเขาล้นยาล้นยาแล้วงานึงมาพังให้หุ่นงานึงมาพังในหามกูให้หุ่นมายาล้นแม่ตัวนั้นอินังน่างาให้ตีสิญญาแล้วเมียยาไปยาหน้าหายาจีโรยาจูเลยนึกมาอันนั้นเท่กว่านี้ชิชูนี่จนเนี่ยน่าหาเนี่ยมาน่าอายุมาจะดูละแม่อายุมานี่เท้าขอแต่เมียกำลังหึงเมียอาจิมีเนี่ยน่ะเจอแล้วไงอันนี้เดี๋ยวทะเลาะมาจังเนี่ยละหัวเสียแต่น่ะน่าเป็นนุ่มน่ะมาเชื่อเมียอายุมานึกมาเกินเนี่ยดำเนี่ยละรู้ว่าละขาเช็ดตานี่ทำกูมาน่ะมาบีโดเลยเมียสาวไม่หูชอบบ้าชอบหาเจ้าเมียชอบบ้าชอบโตชอบหาเจ้าเมียอาจจะโนเจแล้วก็เจ้าหน้าที่เดินมาโนเจเนี่ยละเมียอาจจะรู้สังคมเลยอาจจะเลยสังคมเป็นจนยาวค่ะเธอดูดื้อชาวบ้านมูลนิธิเดินแม่ก็แม่จะโซ่ก็จะโซ่อยู่เจนแล้วแม่นุ่งลูกก็ดูอามาดาวลูกก็ดูเมียแต่เมียกำลังบินมาอยู่เจอยู่นาลูอยู่ว่าอยู่นาลูกำลังบินมาแล้วดูทำมา
Thank you so much for sharing, Ayum. Strong family relationships are so important when we're countering risk. Now, let's hear from Pre about how being a scholarship student has impacted her.
สวัสดีค่ะ หนูชื่อนางสาวคณิษฐาจูเปาะเล่นชื่อแพรค่ะ ตอนนี้ก็ศึกษาอยู่ที่โรงเรียนแม่ลาววิทยาคมค่ะ ในระดับชั้นม .4/1 ตอนนี้เรียนอยู่สายวิทย์คณิตค่ะ ตอนนี้หนูอายุได้16 ปี ซึ่งได้รับทุนการศึกษาจากมูลนิธิวัฒนศิริมา8จะย่างเข้า9 ปีแล้วค่ะ หนูได้รับทุนมาตั้งแต่อายุ 8 ขวบค่ะ ในระยะเวลา 8 ปีที่ผ่านมานะคะ หนูก็ได้มีการพัฒนาตัวเองในการทำกิจกรรมนะคะ ได้ทำให้หนูมีภาวะความเป็นผู้นำที่มากขึ้นค่ะ แล้วก็หนูก็มีต้นแบบมาจากพี่เลี้ยงที่สามารถให้คำปรึกษาที่ดี แล้วก็สามารถช่วยเพื่อนๆหรือว่าครอบครัวคนรอบข้างในการแก้ปัญหาหรือว่าให้คำปรึกษาที่ดีในการที่เขาจะเผชิญหน้ากับปัญหาค่ะ แล้วก็สามารถนำความรู้ที่ได้จากการอบรมต่างๆนำไปเผยแพร่แล้วก็ให้ความรู้กับคนที่ไม่ได้มีโอกาสที่จะได้มาทำกิจกรรมกับเราได้ค่ะ ทุกกิจกรรมเป็นกิจกรรมที่ดีมากๆค่ะ แล้วก็ทำให้หนูมีพัฒนาทุกครั้งที่กลับมาจากกิจกรรมนั้นๆทุกครั้งค่ะ ในครอบครัวก็มีสารสัมพันธ์ที่ดีขึ้นค่ะ ไม่ว่าจะเป็นด้านการสนทนาการรับฟังกัน แล้วก็การที่จะแบ่งปันความรู้สึกต่างๆหรือว่าแบ่งปันความรัก แล้วก็การพูดแสดงออกต่างๆไม่ว่าจะเป็นการบอกรักจากที่แต่ก่อนที่ไม่กล้าพูดเพราะว่ามีความเขินมีความอายกันนะคะก็ตอนนี้ก็ได้เปิดใจกันแล้วก็ได้ลองแสดงความรักต่อกันมากขึ้นค่ะกล้าพูดกล้าคิดแสดงออกมากขึ้นค่ะแล้วก็สามารถนำความกล้าแล้วก็การแสดงออกนี้ก็สามารถนำไปแบ่งปันให้กับคนอื่นได้ค่ะ
Thank you, Pre, Ayum, and Jane for that amazing home visit. We are so proud of Pre and how far she has come and the inspiring changes she's making in her life. Well, I don't know about you, but after all that traveling and adventuring, I'm hungry. Let's go eat. Northern Thailand has some amazing food. Things like papaya salad, grilled chicken, and sticky rice.
.เราก็มาพบกันอีกครั้งหนึ่งนะ เราจะมาคุยเรื่องความสำคัญของการเป็นพี่เลี้ยง การเป็นพี่เลี้ยงทำให้เรารู้จักเด็กในมุมลึกมากยิ่งขึ้น เพราะปัญหาบางอย่างเด็กไม่กล้าที่จะคุยกับผู้ปกครอง พี่เลี้ยงจึงสำคัญที่สามารถเป็นทั้งผู้ปกครองเพื่อนและครูได้ โดยที่เด็กเนี่ยมีความรู้สึกปลอดภัย และเป็นที่พึ่งของเด็กได้เมื่อเขาเผชิญกับปัญหาต่างๆหน้าที่ของพี่เลี้ยงคือการให้คำปรึกษา การแนะนำและสนับสนุนการพัฒนาศักยภาพของเด็กให้กล้าที่จะก้าวออกไปสู่สังคมภายนอกได้อย่างมั่นใจและภูมิใจ
Wasn't that so good? What's your favorite Thai dish? Feel free to add that to the chat. We're gonna head back into town now. All right, now we have something really special for you. While home visits and student families are one end of our community, the other end is our incredible community of generous supporters. We'd like for you to hear from someone who is also passionate about preventing child trafficking, protecting children, and has been a committed member of the Freedom Story for many years. Here is a word from our longtime community member, Bill.
Sawadee Krap. Welcome from Little Diamond Island in Portland, Maine. My name is Bill Stauffer, and I have volunteered with the Freedom Story for about 10 years. I first studied the issue of sexual exploitation as a junior studying abroad in Thailand in 1988, when I wrote a thesis on the sex tourism industry. At the time, I naively assumed that Southeast Asia's continued economic rise would ultimately help mitigate the problem. When I traveled back several years later for business, I realized how wrong I was. And so I wanted to get involved and volunteer and try to do something about the issue. I set up meetings with 5 NGOs in Thailand, and that included a meeting with Rachel Goebel with the Freedom Story. What impressed me the most at first was just the incredible results that the Freedom Story was getting in reducing the dropout rate within the areas that they worked. But ultimately, it was a lot more than this. It was the Freedom Story's willingness to adapt and change their methodologies to best suit the needs of their students. I think that includes engaging the families and teaching them about trafficker ways. I think it involves doing seminars at the Resource Center. I think it involves after-school programs. I think it involves recognizing that not every child is on a track for college, and so they set up programs for students that maybe are not on a college track. It's this constant willingness to adapt and change and meet the needs of the children that has made the Freedom Story so effective in what they do. So thank you to Rachel, thank you to Lucy, thank you to Verawit, and thank you to the entire Freedom Story staff for all that you do. Kapkun Maka.
Thank you so much, Bill. Your support over the years has meant so much to us. I'd like to take the opportunity now to invite all of you to join us in the work of prevention. You've met some of the students in our family today, students like Aitim, Pre, and Arissa. These are students who have been receiving support of our holistic prevention programming over the last few years. We have been working in this area for 14 years. We know how to move children like Arissa, Aitim, and Pre, who you met, from places of vulnerability to places of strength. Just look at Pre. When she joined our program, her family was excluded from society. They had a very difficult background. They had health problems. They had older relatives they had to support. Pre wanted to continue her education. She's very bright and very well spoken, but her family simply could not afford to continue to keep her in school. Now she's in school, she's in high school, she has a bright future, she's a leader among her peers, she's standing for her rights, and she's confident in herself, and she has secure adult relationships to support her along her path. We know there are thousands of other children like Pre, Aitim, and Arissa across northern Thailand. Next year, we would like to bring in more children to our scholarship program to support more vulnerable children in more vulnerable communities to move from places of risk to places of strength. And we know that we can do that with your support. This holiday season, we are aiming to raise $100,000 in order to bring these children into the program next year. But not only that, but right now we have a matching gift, meaning that every donation that you give is matched. Your impact and your donations are doubled, and because of your generosity, we are able to impact and reach more children. We are an incredibly efficient and frugal organization. We know that every single donation that comes in is from people's hearts and is a sacrifice, and we use that money as efficiently and as effectively as we possibly can. In fact, 100% of your donation goes directly to programming, directly to supporting children like Pre, Aitim, and Arissa, who you met today. I know that this season and in general, there are so many different organizations that you could support, so many worthy causes that you could join with. And today we would love to invite you to join with us to stand for prevention, to stand for these vulnerable children and protect them so that they have bright and beautiful futures. There are 3 ways for you to give. The first is by check. If you look in your adventure box, you can see that there is a return prepaid envelope, and so if you fill that out, you can send your check back to us. The second way is online, and Alana is going to drop that link in the chat for you now. The third way is by Venmo. Our Venmo is @thefreedomstory, and Alana will drop that in the chat for you now as well. We are so thankful for your support in all the ways that you have supported and come alongside Freedom Story and vulnerable children in the last few years. And we're so thankful that you could come on this adventure with us. So again, I invite you today to give generously to impact children like Pre, Aitim, and Arissa. We are so incredibly thankful for you. On behalf of myself, on behalf of our students, their family, and our wider staff, we want to say truly thank you, Kapun Ka. Thank you so much. We're getting close to the end of our time here. I know you must have so many questions about trafficking or other things that we might have touched on, and we'd love to open it up for some Q&A. But don't sign off early because we have a fun surprise after the Q&A time.
Hi, Lucy. Hi, Verawit.
Hi.
Thank you both so much for joining us today. We've just met you obviously on our adventure together, and I'm really excited for our adventurers to be able to learn a little bit more from you and hear a little bit more about the Freedom Story. So as questions are starting to come in, I saw one come in from Emily Nelson a little bit early, and she asked, would love to hear about your new partnerships. And I know there's been so much happening on the ground. So Lucy, I was hoping you could speak to and educate us a little bit about our new partnerships.
Absolutely. Thanks, Emily, for the question. So about maybe 2 years ago, we started reflecting on the fact that we had so many years of lessons learned and experience in preventing trafficking, in working with vulnerable children, in working in vulnerable communities. And we started to also notice that people in the anti-trafficking space were getting more and more interested in prevention. So we had organizations asking us for advice in how they could start working in the area of prevention. And we decided, and we kind of saw a great opportunity where we could help people to skip the first 13, 15 years of work, right? You can learn all of our lessons learned. You can take our model, which we know is working because we've seen it work with children like Pre and Idim, right? So we know that our model works, and we would love to help people implement our model in a way that allows them to work with vulnerable children in their community and allows us to be preventing trafficking in a wider area and with more children. So we started that process officially this year, and it's been very exciting. We're in the process now of identifying our partners. So it's a very exciting thing, and that's a big part of our strategy for the next 3 to 5 years.
Thank you, Lucy. Vera, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, like Lucy said, this is a very exciting opportunity for us to be able to share our model with any organization that interested to work on preventing child trafficking. And this model, as we are developing it, is also a very good learning process for us to be able to build a stronger curriculum for our teams. And that also will help when we would like to replicate the model and then share with our friends, organizations. So yeah, I think that's very exciting years to come.
Thank you both. My brother is coming in with a question that I actually don't think he knows the answer to, which is, when did we open the office in Non? And then maybe if you could also share a little bit more about why. Vera, do you want to take that?
Yes, so we started in Nan about 3 years ago, and then what we have been working on was that first we did the research in Nan about the trafficking situations there, and we found that there are a lot of hidden problems in Nan that other organizations may not have heard about that, because we were the first, and I think still now, the only organizations working in Nan on preventing human trafficking and child trafficking. And that started with the works that we identified together with the communities. And then we use our metrics of risk factors to identify potential at-risk children. And then we begin working together with the parents and the communities to identify and then work with them to reduce the risk of human trafficking. And that program have been growing over the years thanks to the support of our donors. And that's actually helped changing the life of the children and the family there. And we have begin to see that the result is taking shape, the fruit bearings, and that's, I think, that taking very good impact in the community that we now expanding to other districts in Nan. So I don't know if Lucy would like to add anything to that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen huge success in Non. As you saw, it is a 7-hour drive from Chiang Rai, so it is far from anywhere. And the isolation and the rural aspect of the community means that children are so much more isolated, they're cut off from opportunities. The community is really cut off from a lot of economic opportunities. But the work that we've been able to do, especially around our sustainable livelihoods in terms of bringing more connections to the outside world, whether that's like what Gam was saying, planting vegetables and then being able to sell them in the community or sell them, outside of the village, has been really exciting. We are expanding to other parts of Non as well, and we have students in a variety of different districts there now. And I'm going to be very honest and say that when I've been able to visit, this is probably one of the areas in Thailand that has the highest poverty that I've seen. People are really, really struggling. But we're just having a really successful time there. So I'm really thankful for all of the opportunities we have to work in Non. And the folks that have made that possible are on the call. I won't name any names, but we're very appreciative of them.
Thank you both. We got a kind of a lighter question that I'll toss in here, which is simply, what is your favorite Thai food dish? This is from Jen Weaver, who's one of our board members, and she's hosting a viewing party tonight with some of her friends. And my fiance is over there actually as well. They're having pad see ew and Penang while they're watching in Oakland. I will say that my absolute favorite food, and Virawit and Lucy both know this about me, is lap moo, which is ground pork with sticky rice. And I cannot get enough of it. I have withdrawals from it when I'm not in Thailand. I think it's absolutely delicious. A northern Thai dish that I highly recommend.
My favorite Thai food, is the salted broad beans that I put in your boxes. No, I'm just kidding. My favorite Thai food is khao soi. I think Aiden mentioned that that's their favorite Thai food as well. It's like a creamy, spicy, coconutty noodle soup.
Yeah. For me, I really enjoy, actually, this is maybe one of the most popular dish in Thailand, which is the pad kapao. This is the basil leaf with any meat that you like. Could be pork, could be beef, could be fish or shrimp, and then maybe top up with the egg. So I think that's kind of like a Thai favorite dish as well. Admire that too.
Love it. We had two questions come in about technology. One of them was from Chippy asking if we could talk about how technology is changing the strategy. And then another one that I'll go ahead and put these together is from Mary, asking how social media is acknowledging how social media is part of the problem, but then asking other ways that we can also be utilizing that as part of the solution. And so, Lucy, did you want to take that one?
Yeah. So as you saw in our video, social media is certainly part of the problem. It's a way that predators connect with kids and vulnerable people all around the world, including in Thailand. Our students are very tech and social media savvy. It's also, to be honest, the new generation's use of technology is very intimidating. They're very good with their social media. But one of the ways that we have been using and are going to be using more social media to reach out to people is through having Thai media that we're creating to target both our youth and then kind of the wider community as well. So we've just launched, this is kind of a fun thing in the last couple weeks, we've just launched a Burmese language YouTube channel where we're going to be helping migrant workers who come to Thailand from Myanmar access information about what their rights are and what kind of documentation they should have and where they can go with issues like labor abuses and things like that in their own language, which is really important. And we're hoping to do more and more of that in Thai as well in the new year. Virawit, would you have anything to add?
Yes, I think that is what we have been trying to do, trying to use the social medias and the technologies in a way that would help preventing child trafficking and human trafficking. On top of that, we are also running a lot of campaigns on the online sexual exploitations of children, and then the risks that coming with all the social medias. So that is what we have been working together with the Thai government agencies, because this is one of the rising problems in Thailand, that there have been human traffickers using social media to lure in children and youth to work outside of Thailand. And that has become quite a lot of problems. So we are working with the Thai government agencies part organization, schools, so that children are aware of all those risks, and then they would be able to prevent themselves from being trafficked.
Yep. Thank you both so much.
And thank you.
Going back to the quick food, we got a couple of shout outs for the broad beans.
I would love for you all to know that I carried those from Thailand myself.
This is true. Lucy showed up to our house here in California with about 2 duffel bags full of broad beans. So hope that you're enjoying your truly from Thailand snacks.
I brought the caramels too.
David, hey David. David is asking, are there other trends that we're seeing? We mentioned obviously trafficking to Cambodia. Are there other trends that we are seeing right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. Trafficking is always changing. The trafficking to Cambodia is very new in the last 12 months. So that's definitely a new and rising trend for people both in the region, and then they've seen people even trafficked from America to these places in Cambodia. So it really is a scary and a pretty urgent problem. We've seen over the last few years, and even more with COVID, online exploitation and online sexual exploitation of children increasing. We had been kind of talking about that before COVID, but everything moving online the way that it has really increased that as well. And then I would say overall, the lingering economic impacts of the pandemic are putting a lot more people at risk of trafficking and are making people more desperate in terms of needing more economic resources. What about you, Vero? What do you think?
Yes, definitely. The situation is getting precarious now because there are more of the centers that happening. I mean, around Thailand, one is in in Cambodia, in Sihanoukville, that became quite a big news headline recently. And there's an emerging threat that's actually close to home, which is in Laos, PDR, which is actually opposite to Chiang Rai. So there's like a casino kingdom, which is called King Loman, and they are attracting a lot of workers to go there. And we have been receiving news that people have been trafficked, they have been locked up, and then they need to work long hours without getting paid. And if they don't meet the target, then in doing like online scamming, then there would be beaten or then other form of abuses, and some of them manage to escape. So that's kind of like the problem happening closer to home, which is in Chiang Rai. And there's another center which just emerged, which is on the Myanmar side, which is kind of like connected. They have this kind of like triangulars of the traffickers who are operating in Cambodia, in Laos, and in Myanmar, and they are all connected. So I think this is kind of like the trends that we begin to see right now, and we would like to make sure that our communities and students are aware of these risks and then don't fall into the trap.
Absolutely. When we were bringing in the new scholarship students who joined our program this year, many of the families mentioned, especially the casinos in Laos. I think for many of the families, because it's geographically very close, it doesn't seem as threatening to them. And so it's been a big point for us to make sure that they understand that these seemingly good opportunities are not what they seem.
Thank you both. We are just out of time. I know that there are some questions we weren't able to get to, but I'm going to ask my own question as our last and final one. And it is simply, what is bringing you hope these days in the work?
It's a great question. Trafficking can feel very overwhelming. The problem to me often feels very overwhelming. But when I think about the fact that we are having a positive impact on the lives of each of these individual children and families that we work with, that brings me a lot of hope. There's one student, Rachel was with us a few weeks ago. There's one student who used to come to the office, and she was clearly being neglected at home. The folks at home didn't have the capacity to care for her. You could tell physically her hygiene wasn't good. She struggled to make friends because people didn't want to be near her. But now she's been in our program for about a year or 2 years, and she has this huge smile. Well, she's clean, she has friends. When Rachel was there, she came and played volleyball with us. So small moments like that bring me a lot of hope and a lot of joy.
Yeah, like Lucy said, I mean, you can't beat the smile of the girls and the boys who actually having their life change in the positive way. And for me, I begin to see that more and more we have really, really good team and very strong system that will help us to expanding our TFS prevention model. And the teams are really, really active and excited to make sure that this model continue to thrive and then be able to help more children away from human trafficking. And that's, I see the happiness that happen internally within the organization and externally with the children and family and community we are working with.
That's wonderful. Oh, Rachel, I think you're on mute.
Thank you both so much for all of your hard work, for your dedication to prevention, and for continuing to radically advance the work that the Freedom Story is doing. I'm so grateful to have you both here with us today. And now let's continue on our adventure. We just have a few minutes left, so we hope that you enjoy the rest of the ride.
Before we sign off and say all of our goodbyes, we have one last surprise for you. In your travel box, you'll find a postcard. This postcard represents a way to pay it forward. The cost of your ticket included a $5 donation towards a home visit, just like what you saw here today. These are a chance to check in with our students and their families, to build relationships of trust, and to keep vulnerable kids on a better, safer path. That donation can be gifted forward to one of your friends or family, someone that you think would enjoy knowing a little bit of good was done in their name. So go ahead and sign and address that to someone you think cares about these issues like you do. And we hope that this is an opportunity to spark a conversation.
Thank you all for joining us today. What a fun and special event this has been. We hope you enjoyed your adventure in Northern Thailand. We definitely enjoyed the honor of adventuring with you. Now, please don't forget to make a generous gift online or by check or by Venmo. And we hope you have a safe journey home.
The Freedom Story is a family of global supporters. Thank you to all the individuals and foundations from over 11 countries around the world who give so generously to prevention. The work we do is possible because of you. Together, we are preventing child trafficking and exploitation.